What if every decision you ever made was already decided for you? Chapter 1. The Illusion of Choice. You woke up this morning. You chose what to eat. You chose what to wear. You chose to watch this video. Or did you? What if I told you that every single decision you've ever made, your career, your relationships, who you are right now, was never really yours to make? And what if that's not a terrifying thought, but actually the most freeing idea you've ever heard? Think about your life. Every big moment, every turning point, you probably think of yourself as the main character, the one steering the ship. But here's the question philosophers have been arguing about for over 2,000 years. Do you actually have free will? Or are you just a very convincing robot? Chapter 2. The Domino Theory. This is called the theory of determinism, and it goes like this. Every cause has an effect, and every effect becomes a new cause. Determinism says your entire life, every choice, every accident, every heartbreak is just one giant chain of dominoes. And the first one was pushed long before you existed. Your parents met. You were born. You moved schools. You met your best friend. You ended up here. None of those were accidents. They were links in a chain that started before you took your first breath. Chapter 3. What science actually found. Now, this isn't just philosophy. Science has been quietly confirming this for decades, and it should make you question everything. In 1983, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet ran one of the most unsettling experiments in history. He hooked people up to brain monitors and asked them to flick their wrist whenever they felt like it. Simple enough. But here's where it gets weird. He measured when their brains started preparing to move, versus when they consciously decided to move. The brain started moving half a second before the person was even aware they'd made a decision. Half a second. Your brain decided. Then it told you about it, and you thought it was your idea. This has been replicated dozens of times. In 2008, scientists at the Max Planck Institute pushed it even further. They could predict a person's decision up to 10 full seconds before the person knew they'd made it. 10 seconds. So who's actually in charge here? Chapter 4. The Butterfly Effect. Now let's zoom out even further, because it's not just your brain running the show. The entire universe has been setting you up from day one. This is where chaos theory comes in. You've probably heard of the butterfly effect, the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can cause a hurricane in Texas. It sounds ridiculous, but mathematicians proved it's real. Tiny, invisible changes at the start of a system lead to wildly different outcomes later. You are the hurricane, and you had no say over any of the butterflies, the family you were born into, the country, the decade, whether your parents were stressed or happy the day they met, whether your teacher was kind or cruel, whether you got sick that one week and missed the class that would have changed everything. None of that was you, and all of it made you. Chapter 5. But what about my choices? Okay, I know what you're thinking, but I feel like I'm making choices. And you're right, you do. And that feeling is real and important. Here's the thing. Even the determinists don't say your choices don't matter. They say your choices are part of the chain. You're not a passive passenger. You're a gear in the machine. A real turning essential gear. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Rome, guys like Marcus Aurelius, had a beautiful way of putting this. They called it amor fati, love of fate. The idea that you should not just accept what happens to you, but love it, because it could not have been any other way. And every single thing that happened to you was required to bring you exactly here. Chapter 6. Does everything happen for a reason? So, does everything happen for a reason? Here's what the research actually says. Psychologists call it meaning making. Studies show that humans are the only creatures on Earth that need events to make sense. We are meaning making machines. When something painful happens, the brain doesn't just feel it. It immediately starts searching for a reason, a lesson, a purpose. It's a survival mechanism, because a world with no meaning is too chaotic to navigate. And here's the extraordinary part. Research on post-traumatic growth, studied by psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun, found that the majority of people who go through serious trauma later report that it made them stronger, more empathetic, and more purposeful. Not because the trauma was good, but because the human brain is wired, by nature, by evolution, maybe by something bigger, to find meaning in the mess. So maybe the question isn't, did this happen for a reason? Maybe the question is, what reason am I going to give it? Chapter 7. Everything still worked out. You were never fully in control. The brain decides before you do. The chain started before you were born. Forces you'll never see shaped every single part of who you are. But here's what that means. Every person who hurt you was also a gear. Every setback was a domino. Every detour was the root. You didn't end up here by accident. You ended up here by everything. So stop trying to control every outcome. Stop replaying every decision. The version of you that exists right now, flawed, tired, still figuring it out, could only have been built by exactly the life you've lived. You were never in control. And somehow, everything still worked out. I'm explaining you. And today, you just learned something about yourself.